welcome or welcome back. My name is Monique and welcome to Medora Budgets. I'd like to thank anybody who's liked or commented on any of my videos, and especially those that have chosen to subscribe to my channel. Truly started this as a way to hold myself accountable, but I understand, recognize, and appreciate the community as a whole. So if you are rocking with me on this journey, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't made up your mind yet, sit with me for a spell. At the end of this video, if it's content you find valuable or enjoyable, please feel free to subscribe. It's myself and Sweets, married with a whole bunch of kids, trying to figure out our future family and finances, so the decisions we're making now won't negatively impact us in the future. Today is, what is today? Today is Thursday, and it is the 6th. Yep, there you go. And I'm here to do a budget closeout and a January closeout kind of all together. It'll be pretty quick, hopefully. But I'm just going to cover a few key points as far as the monthly plan overall was concerned, and then we'll hop on into the budget. So as you know, or as you should be aware, my word for 2025 is organization. Just getting myself organized and making sure that I am following and tracking the way that I should. And so here is for January, what I wanted to concentrate on. So we had an awesome time celebrating Corinne's birthday. As far as the work items are concerned, or the things that I felt like I needed to accomplish, completing FAFSA, the performance appraisals, I thought that was going to move to February. We actually had to do it by February the 1st. So I got it all done in January. Great. I made my final payment for ThesCon. And in fact, I just dropped Corinne off as far as the trip is concerned. So she is well on her way now to her ThesCon trip. As far as Xerxes, I actually ended up, he did get his grooming, but I had to cancel the boarding, of course. You know, if you're aware, my dog passed away. And so that is, we've had to cancel those appointments that we had made. As far as these are concerned, I started taking estrogen to help, hopefully, to get more sleep. I will be honest, I actually had an adverse effect on me. So it caused me to actually be more, to have more sleepless nights. So I have actually stopped taking the estrogen for right now. I did finish all of Micah, the book in the Bible. So that one is done. Did not attend any fitness classes, didn't do any exercises at all. So that is what I'm going to have to hit hard in February to start to try and create some habits around that. Handled the date night with Sweets. We had a great time. Listened to one YouTube video each week for Mommy Trader. That's done. And I was able to contribute my $31, $1 a day towards that investment account. I have not invested anything yet, but just contributing the money right now. And ASL practice 2 to 3 times a week. Yes, been able to do that as well. So all of that's looking good. So as I worked through my budget, my plan overall and my daily grind, one of the things that I actually introduced, or 2 things that I introduced for 2025 is, number 1, I am going to be tracking a vehicle log. And that's, look at my car, CX-30 that I have. But I'm going to have a vehicle log that I've started to track. You notice I did have something in here for December when I got my brakes replaced, the front and the back. But I'm going to have a tracker that I'll be taking as far as my vehicle maintenance is concerned. So again, organization is the key. And then I also have a last time. And so what I've realized is there are a few things that happen, not often, but I need to remember when to do them. So I don't wait too late, especially because a lot of these have some type of financial impact. So changing the batteries in the door locks, you know, how often I want to do that. When's the last time I did that? Changing the water filter. This has been very helpful in starting to document some of these things down overall. Okay, so that's it for the plan. Now let's talk about the budget. So what I did for January, I did a monthly budget category breakdown, and that's what we're going to cover towards the end of this video. But basically, that's where I take all of the budget categories that I created and I document what I think I'm going to spend for each of these for the month. And then I track all of the expenses tied to everything to see whether or not I hit what I felt like my numbers were. With that said, I decided that this particular month, January, was going to cover 3 paychecks, and it was going to cover 6 weeks. So that's a total of 6 weeks. So I tracked 3 things. I tracked my Chase Freedom credit card, which is how I do all of my expenses. Now, it's a new process that I'm starting, but now that's what I'm doing. I track my bills account because that's where I pay my utilities, my debt, and any other bills that I have. And I track my Ally credit card because that's where I have my most of my subscriptions coming out of. My weeks run from Friday to a Monday. So this one was week 12/27 to 1/3. I spent in food total $148.59. $180.48 was for groceries. $48.11 was for dining. So this is what's going to help me. I did this for every week for 6 weeks. And this is what helped me to understand how I was spending my money, to see where I might have some trends of some things I need to either continue to do because I'm doing them right, or I need to stop doing because I'm doing them wrong. So instead of having to look at each of these sheets separately for the Ally credit card, for the Chase Freedom card, for the bills account, I created a form. And this is the form, which gave me each of the categories in its specific color. I put down how many weeks would be associated with that month. For this month of January, I had 6 weeks. For the purpose of the video, I just got finished doing that. So I just got finished writing these numbers out to catch up for week 6, and then also to get my totals. And so I did that for each week. And then that way, all I had to do today was to go in and get the totals for each of those. So add everything up for that category and put it down. You know, I wrote in what week I spent it, then add it all together. And that's what you see down here. And then also, as I mentioned before, I have sinking funds that I spent. And again, I didn't track week 1, but I have week 2, what sinking funds I touched. Week 3, no, that's not 3. 3, what sinking funds I touched. Week 4, I don't know why they're out of order. Week 4, what sinking funds I touched and how much that total. Week 5, the sinking funds, etc. So I wrote all of that out, and I needed that information so that I'd be able to take care of what these monthly budget category breakdowns are. So that's what we're about to talk about now. So now you guys might remember, and I hope you can read that. So let's go in just a tad bit more. We'll come down a little bit. There you go. So what I planned was $6,900 for earned income, $150 from Micah, which would be the other income. And I thought I was only going to use $335 out of my savings / sinking funds, which would have been a total of $7,385. That's not what happened. What happened was I ended up having $7,434.03 as income. Micah still gave me the $150 for the month because it was 3 paychecks. He gives me $50 every paycheck. And then I actually ended up pulling $1,469. So that was all the sinking funds that you saw a minute ago. I tallied all of that together. It was $1,469. And then that gave me a total of $9,053.03. I hope you guys can see that for my total as far as my monthly inflow was concerned. Now, as far as how I spent that money, and remember, this is the Budget Mom's PDF workbook that I'm using, Budget by Paycheck PDF workbook that she has available on her site. All right, so how did it shape up? Home, I budgeted $1,520. I spent $1,452, so I was $67 in the green or under budget, and that accounted for 16% of my monthly inflow. Property care, I was way over. And here's the reason why. So this is another reason why you track. I talked about the fact that I might have to pay a couple of bills 2 times. So remember, my first paycheck was December 27th, but most of that was used to pay January bills. That's why I included it as a part of January. But also my January 24th check that I got, some of that is going to be used to pay February bills, to include my home, which is why that was so high, because I ended up having to cover my mortgage twice, but then also property care. I ended up having to cover my home warranty twice, my ring twice, and my property insurance twice. And so I gave the monthly amount, but I should have accounted for the fact that I would have paid it 2 times in this 6-week cycle for January. And so where I planned to spend about $250, it was $460.80. So I was over by $210, and that accounted for 5.1% of my monthly inflow. Utilities ended up the same way. So for utilities, I had marked out that I typically will spend $500 a month, but I had to pay electric twice and I had to pay gas south twice. Now, gas south is set at a budget plan of $101, or $102. So that one was fine. Electric, I'm kind of guessing. Usually I'm at about $150 a month, but with all these people living in this house, y'all, my bill is not going down. So although I budgeted for $150, I spent more than that both months that the electric had to be covered here. As well as all of the other, bills that I had to take care of. So come February, I will be making a change to how much I allot for my electric bill, because it's gone up and it's just staying up. So I need to account for that. Anyway, I was over by $354, and this total, the $854.17, accounts for 9.4% of my monthly inflow. Next is debt. I anticipated spending about $600 on debt. I spent more than that. It's a good news story, even though it's in red. It's in red because I went over the amount that I allotted, but all of that, as I looked back over my pages, all of that was for extra debt payments that I made. And so with that, it accounted for 9.3% of my monthly inflow went to debt. Okay. Next is medical. Medical was really on par. I wanted to spend $150. I spent $125. So I have about $25 under budget, and it accounts for 1.4% of my monthly inflow. Auto, I expected to spend $10.50. I spent $864.11. So it was under budget, and it accounted for that $864 accounted for 9.5% of my monthly inflow. So I'm not worried about these, the property care, utility, and debt, because there's a reason why those are over their amount. Everything else so far, I am under budget, which is great. And I just didn't account for these the right way, which is why those are showing in the red. So this top half, I'm okay with. I'm not stressed out. We're about to get into the stressful part. All right. So personal, I spent, I was anticipating $240. I spent $486.69. That's a difference of $246.69. And that $486 accounts for 5.4% of my monthly inflow. And that, I didn't write it down, but I should have. That is because of clothes and because of this desk that I had to buy. I needed to replace the desk that I had. So this desk and clothes that I needed, we specifically had something we needed to wear for church. And so I bought there were two items that I had to buy. That's what accounts for this particular money. So not happy about that, and I don't have my own sinking fund already beefed up. I do have a personal shopping one that I now have in my Sweets sinking fund binder. It just doesn't have a lot of money in there yet. But going forward, if I keep giving to it, I'll be able to pull from that if I have another month like this. Okay. Next, family. Monthly budget, I set aside $150. And it costs $678.85 for family, and the difference is $528.85, and that $678 accounted for 7.5% of my monthly inflow. And I know for sure that this was either Corinne or Little Bean. Now for Corinne, the money that I spent for her, she actually has a sinking fund for me to pull from, so I was able to pull from that and put that money towards here. But Little Bean did not have a sinking fund. And if you guys saw my last video, I was like, he just needs stuff. Like, babies just need stuff, man. I love my birthday twin, but he just needs stuff. So I'm starting now to put some savings challenges towards having a revolving sinking fund for Little Bean. I don't want to pull from his little categories that I have for like snacks and school and sports and that kind of stuff. I don't want to pull any money from that. So, and the other challenge that I'm running for that is specific around either birthday or around a savings account for him. So I got to come up with something else. So I do recognize that part of the problem is that I don't have a budget for Little Bean, and it sounds like he needs one. All right, food, y'all, is the biggie. So I planned for $840 as far as the budget is concerned. I spent $1,400. So I spent $560 more than I anticipated, and that $1,400 accounts for 15.5% of my monthly inflow, which is crazy because my home, paying my mortgage twice, accounted for how much food I spent. It was ridiculous, but it is because of Snowmageddon twice. So it snowed twice here in Georgia, and both times we bought a lot more food than we probably needed just to stock up, plus a lot more snacks than we typically do. And then when we were able to get out, we ate out a lot more because we were tired of cooking for 6 people. So it was just a perfect storm as far as that's concerned. So I don't anticipate us having that problem all the time. So, and I'll be working on that and checking on that. But yeah, it was $1,400, and that was an issue. Next is rec and entertainment. I anticipated $50. I didn't know whether I was going to spend it or not. I ended up spending $82.80, and that's because I joined a sign language class, an 8-week course that I started this past Sunday, and I'm excited about it, but I didn't plan for it. I didn't know about it initially, and when I was told about it, I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign up. So that's why I went over for that. Subscriptions is $226 is what I budgeted. Spotify, I knew I was going to end up paying that twice because of how the dates fell with that one. And I reduced, but I shouldn't say but I reduced some of my other subscriptions, got rid of some of the Apple Cares that I had, moved my Audible to a bi-monthly subscription, where I pay for it every other month. So it's a lot cheaper to kind of offset that a little bit. But what I did not realize at the time, I paused Fubo TV, but I had to unpause it because I wanted to watch the Super Bowl. So because of that, I have one more month that I had to pay for it. It was February, so that came out. So I did spend $302. $300.20. So I was over by $74.20, and that $300 accounted for 3.3% of my monthly inflow. Pets, I did spend quite a bit of money on Xerxes prior to him passing away. So that total was $178.85. I spent $103 more than I anticipated, and that $178 accounted for 2% of my monthly inflow. And this pets category, of course, will be going away. And then savings. I planned on saving $1,500. I saved $1,375. So I was $125 less on that. But it does account for 15.2% of my monthly inflow. So when you look at the totals, my budgeted amount was $7,151 that I expected to spend. I spent $9,103.42. My inflow was $9,053.03. So 9,053.03 minus 9,103.42 equals. So I am over budget by $50.39. Even with all of the red that you see there, I am only over budget by $50. And that's because, again, that I pulled from my sinking funds. Plus, I can go in and look at all of the forms that I filled out as far as my expense tracking, and I can see exactly why I went over certain categories. And that's just going to be fuel for me to understand and know going forward into February what I do and do not need to do. When you added up all these percentage totals together, it equals 100.5%. And that's about right because I'm over by 50 bucks. And so there you go. I still got a lot to do to finish up and tidy up January, but I did want to come and give you guys a quick update on where we are with these new forms that I've now started to introduce into my budgeting system, just so that you guys can see how it's working so far. I think that is it. Thanks everybody for your time. You guys have a good one.